After enduring a demanding first half of the 2025 MotoGP season, Marc Marquez emerged from the summer break exactly where he has so often found himself, leading the World Championship, setting the tone for the entire paddock and dominating the headlines. But for a rider who has already redefined what's possible in MotoGP, Hungary's Balaton Park circuit offers something he hasn't faced in years. An unusual challenge that carries its own risks. The venue sits just 90 minutes from Budapest, close to the stunning Lake Balaton, and will welcome MotoGP for the first time since 1992, the last time Hungary featured on the calendar. Eddie Lawson claimed Kagiva's only Premier Class victory, and the legendary 500cc era was in full swing. Now, 33 years later, the sport is an entirely different beast, faster, sharper, and physically more brutal than ever before. For Marquez, Balaton Park isn't just another race weekend. It's the chance to conquer his 21st unique track in the Premier Class and to push his already commanding 120-point lead over his brother Ilix even further. Yet even after 8 wins from the first 12 Grands Prix, there is a quiet understanding inside the Ducati camp that this one could be a tougher fight. Determined to reduce the element of surprise, Ducati acted well in advance. On August 5th, they quietly sent all 6 of their MotoGP riders, plus test rider Michel Pirro, for a full day of track familiarization. Because MotoGP rules prohibit riding at a race venue within 15 days of the event, Ducati found a clever workaround. Instead of their fearsome 300-horsepower Desmosedici GP25 race bikes, the riders trained on the Panigale V4S Pro, a road-legal Superbike fitted with race-grade suspension and brakes, but still within street regulations. Marc Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia, Elix Marquez, Fermin Aldeguer, Franco Morbidelli, and Fabio Di Giannantonio all turned serious laps, with Marquez and Bagnaia alone racking up around 70 tours of the 4.15-kilometer circuit to get every corner committed. To memory, Bagnaia summed up his first impressions by calling the track compact. Tricky in the chicanes, but satisfying overall. Marquez echoed the positivity, praising the circuit's distinctive stop-and-go style and its excellent tarmac, but also stressing the importance of adapting quickly to its rhythm. One characteristic instantly stood out to both riders and analysts. Balaton Park is heavily left-handed. For most, that means an unusual rhythm, constant loading on one side of the tire, and careful management of asymmetric wear. For Marquez, it's almost an invitation. Tracks like Sachsenring, with their heavy left-hand bias, have long been his playground, perfectly suiting his extreme lean angles and aggressive corner entry style. Still, Bagnaia was quick to point out that the narrow width and low-speed corners could blunt Ducati's usual strengths. The short straights leave little room to exploit the Desmosedici's sheer horsepower, shifting the emphasis to precision braking and clean corner exits. Any mistake in these areas could be punished instantly. And there is another, more serious concern: safety. Pirro has been vocal about a particular hazard. During July's World Superbike round at Balaton, Turn to saw a massive pileup involving Andrea Iannone and Danilo Petrucci, which triggered a chain reaction that took out Garrett Gerloff, Remy Gardner, and Iker Lecuona. The race was red-flagged, and several riders were injured. Having already ridden the track on a MotoGP machine during Michelin's tire test, Pirro was blunt. This is a track where extra caution will be critical, especially in the opening sector. For Marquez, a rider who thrives in higher striking zones, the warning could prove decisive. Here, even the smallest miscalculation could end the weekend before it truly begins. Yet, perhaps the biggest talking point from Ducati's Hungary shakedown was not danger, but speed. For the first time this season, Bagnaia posted a quicker lap than Marquez, even if only unofficially. MotorSport.com revealed that Bagnaia set a 1 minute 41 seconds and 468 milliseconds, with Marquez just behind at 1 minute 41 seconds and 500 milliseconds, a minuscule 0.032 seconds apart. On paper, negligible. But in psychological terms, it's a rare win for Bagnaia in a season where Marquez has usually been untouchable. Of course, the times were set on Panigale V4S Pros, not GP25s, and the aim was learning, not outright pace. Still, the result was enough to spark interest. Heading into the Hungarian GP, the track already has a benchmark from another champion. Toprak Razgatlioglu, BMW star in World Superbike, dominated here in July, topping every session and winning all 3 races. His Super Pole lap of 1 minute 38 seconds and 357 milliseconds remains the fastest two-wheeled performance at Balaton Park. While comparing WSBK and MotoGP directly is impossible due to differences in bikes, tires, and setups, Toprak's mastery of the heavy braking zones mirrors Marquez's own strengths. And with Toprak joining MotoGP in 2026 with Pramac Yamaha, his performance this year adds extra intrigue for future battles. Both Marquez and Bagnaia stress that Balaton's stop-and-go design demands explosive acceleration out of slow corners and pinpoint braking rather than flowing high-speed momentum. Michelin's tire data will be vital for managing edge grip and preventing overheating in the numerous left-handers. The GP25's dominance on high-speed tracks might be neutralized here, opening opportunities for riders who thrive in tight, technical conditions, perhaps Ilix Marquez, Di Giannantonio, or even Aldegar if they deliver strong qualifying laps. So why, despite his overwhelming form, is Marquez approaching Hungary with caution? 3 key reasons. First, the danger zone at Turn 2, its crash history is fresh. And with MotoGP's faster, heavier bikes, the stakes are even higher. Second, the layout, its tight, narrow design will make overtaking risky, meaning qualifying could decide half the race before lights out. Third, the unknown. No one has raced MotoGP machinery here. And with no setup data, late August weather could add another curveball. Marquez himself admits that finding rhythm quickly will be crucial, and while he thrives on mastering the unknown, he knows overconfidence here could be costly. Round 14 of the 2025 season brings Marquez into Hungary with a record that reads like dominance in its purest form. 8 Grand Prix victories, 11 sprint wins, 7 poles, and a 120-point advantage. His move to Ducati has reshaped the entire championship narrative, shifting the focus from whether he can win to whether anyone can stop him. And yet, Balaton Park is the wild card in the deck, a new, tricky, and unforgiving circuit where even the smallest error could have massive consequences. Ducati's early shakedown might prove decisive, but as Pirro emphasized, adapting riding style and respecting the track's unique demands will be just as important as raw speed. The summer break is over. The stage is set. And soon we'll know whether Balaton Park becomes another jewel in Marquez's crown, or the track that finally forces him to slow his unstoppable 2025 march.